Hey guys, today we're going over 10 exotic combos that I'm interested in trying out in episode Revenant. There were a lot of exotic buffs announced recently, and most of these combos will tie into those. We have 3 Hunter combos, 3 Warlock combos, and 3 Titan combos, and 1 general build. So let's get into it. First, I want to say I do plan on streaming the new dungeon on Friday, going for a solo contest attempt. If that doesn't happen, it's because my power went out from the hurricane, so hopefully that doesn't happen. See you then. Up first, we have Peacekeepers plus an exotic SMG. Peacekeepers are going to be getting a very exciting buff in episode Revenant. Dealing damage to combatants with an SMG increases SMG damage for a short time. Maximum of 20 stacks, which is a 2 times damage bonus, lasts for 1 second. Each hit adds a stack and refreshes the timer. Guys, this might just turn out to be the lucky pants for Titans. We have multiple exotic SMGs getting buffs, including Huckleberry, which is getting kinetic tremors, and then Teraba, which is getting the Risk Runner treatment with 50% solar damage resist while Ravenous Beast is active. Teraba already does a lot of damage while Ravenous Beast is active, so I wonder what the damage buff from pairing these two exotics will look like. Huckleberry could turn out to be the best option for straight ad clear because every kill fully reloads the magazine, and it has pre-nerf for Rampage, and now we're getting kinetic tremors. The exotic SMG I'm most interested to try out though is Risk Runner. When Arc Conductor is active, you can fire infinitely for 4 seconds, and if you keep on taking arc damage, well, then you truly never have to reload. I also wonder if the Chain Lightning from Arc Conductor will progress the Peacekeeper's damage buff. Well, we'll have to find out. I love weapon-focused builds in this game, and hopefully the Peacekeeper's buff opens up some new cool options for Titans. Speaking of weapon-focused builds, our next exotic combo is Bad Juju plus Skull of Dire Ahamkara on Warlock. Bad Juju has always kind of been a slept-on exotic in the PvE meta. It gives super energy on kill and can have up to a 2 times damage buff when String of Curses is at 5 stacks. In Revenant, String of Curses will now last 5.5 seconds at base and 7.5 seconds with the Catalyst. The magazine is also increasing from 27 to 36. It's also been hinted at that it might be getting a buff that increases the amount of explosions you can make. If you didn't know, there's a very rare secret explosion that can go off with Bad Juju if you get enough kills. It would be super cool if this could happen more often and become an actual feature of Bad Juju, because that would make it much better at ad clear. Anyway, why Skull of Dire Ahamkara? Well, in Revenant, it's getting a buff to where weapon defeats while Devour's active grants super energy. I could see you making a nice prismatic build with this combo using Feed the Void. Bad Juju kills will help with both getting your super very quickly, as well as building up the light and dark transcendence meters. Now, for our first Hunter build of the video, we have one that has been talked about before, but is getting a buff in episode Revenant. Diris plus Mothkeepers Wraps, the good old Moth build. Diris is getting a pretty nice buff in episode 2. The direct hit damage is being increased by 33%. We're getting plus 5 ammo in the reserves, and it now also spawns a moth on 2 direct hits. That last buff means you could just be chucking shots at a boss and you'll be getting free extra damage from those moths. Previously, you could only get the moths from kills, so this buff is pretty substantial. I'm also excited to retry this build next episode because of all the grenade launcher centered artifact perks we'll be getting, like Overload Grenade Launcher and Concussive Reload. Circling back around to Titans, we have the new exotic weapon Alethonym plus the new exotic armor piece Blastwave Striders. I call this the Explodey Stasis Titan. Alethonym is a primary ammo grenade launcher, and getting final blows with this weapon creates vestiges. Remember that for later. The new Titan exotic Blastwave Striders reads that you gain resistance to your explosives. Defeat targets to charge this armor. Once charged, slide or deal explosive self-damage to rocket jump backwards and blast deadly shrapnel projectiles that spawn stasis crystals on impact. So speaking on this exotic alone, this sounds really fun to me. Jumping all around the room causing stasis explosions just sounds like a good time. But remember those vestiges from Alethonym? Well, picking those up will actually build up the charges for this exotic armor. This synergy sounds really cool, and with all the grenade launcher and stasis related artifact perks, I think this one will be a pretty dominant build this season. Moving on to the Warlock, we have Rime Raymond, the new exotic armor piece, plus Polaris Lance. This exotic armor piece caught my eye the second I saw it in action. Your Bleak Watcher turrets are enhanced with extended range and are surrounded by stasis crystals and a storm. Standing in the storm grants icicles over time, which applies slowing rounds to your weapons. So I decided to pair this with Polaris Lance to make a true fire and ice build. Your Polaris lance will scorch targets and cause ignitions, while at the same time will slow them and freeze them, allowing shatters. It's basically a long-range conditional finality. Let me know if this build sounds fun to you down in the comments. Up next, we have a combo using the new Hunter exotic, and that is Mask of Fealty, plus a Headstone weapon. The new Hunter exotic Mask of Fealty is all about using your Withering Blade melee. Withering Blade hits and bounces create a small stasis crystal and refund a portion of melee energy. Using Withering Blade to shatter crystals or frozen targets releases a spread of Withering Blades. This is another new exotic that sounds really fun. Hunters have never really had a way to spam stasis crystals except for some grenade shenanigans, but this exotic will add that playstyle to the kit. Using a Headstone weapon, you'll be able to easily make stasis crystals and destroy them with your melee to launch out a bunch more Withering Blades. Wicked Implement might be really good to pair with this, seeing as the catalyst for that weapon gives it Headstone. I also think Mask of Fealty will just be great to use on Prismatic Hunter, especially when you're Transcendent and can spam all your abilities. Back on Titan, we have Icefall Mantle plus Stasis weapons. Icefall Mantle is getting a hefty buff/rework in Revenant. You now gain a stack of Frost Armor for rapid Stasis final blows. Each time you gain a stack of Frost Armor from any source, you will heal for a small amount. The unique class ability granted by Icefall Mantle now provides maximum stacks of Frost Armor instead of its custom overshield. You will also immediately heal for each stack of Frost Armor that gets added. It no longer prevents sprinting or jump abilities, and it now works when Thruster is equipped. Class ability energy now begins to recharge immediately after using Icefall's class ability. For the final buff, the burst of stasis energy from the class ability now freezes combatants. So we want to make sure that we're using stasis weapons so that we're getting those Frost Armor stacks and that we're healing all the time. Some stasis exotics I could see going well with this are the new grenade launcher Alethonym and the one I'm most excited on trying, Wicked Implement. Wicked Implement has the ability to create stasis shards, and if you're running a stasis subclass, these shards could give Frost Armor, which will then heal you every time you pick them up. Also, speaking on Icefall Mantle, the fact that activating it now freezes targets is huge for aggressive builds. You could jump into a group of enemies, freeze everything, gain max stacks of Frost Armor in the process, and then you keep on going and slaying. I think Stasis Titan is just going to be a lot of fun to use in Revenant, and this build with all the Stasis artifact perks is just going to make it even better. The final combo for Warlock is Chromatic Fire plus Huckleberry. If you didn't know, a while back, Chromatic Fire got a buff so that the elemental explosion caused by getting a kinetic weapon headshot kill now activates a specific elemental debuff based on your super element. My fantasy for this exotic combo is you have Huckleberry, a very strong ad clear exotic, now having kinetic tremors. That perk will increase its single target damage, while the Chromatic Fire explosions will play more into the ad clear side. I could see this combo being pretty good on Prismatic, where if you run Nova Bomb, the Chromatic Fire explosions will weaken enemies. Time for our last Hunter exotic combo, and it's a PvP one this time. It's Last Word plus Lucky Pants. While Lucky Pants is getting nerfed in PvE, it's getting a buff in PvP. It now provides movement bonuses including increased slide distance and sprint speed when a hand cannon is equipped. Also, the airborne effectiveness bonus is always active when Lucky Pants is equipped. The final helpful PvP buff is that the Out of Luck cooldown will now only trigger if you reach 7 stacks of the PvE damage buff before swapping off the weapon or if the time expires. This means that in PvP, whenever you spawn in, you should no longer automatically get the Out of Luck debuff. So the Yeehaw combo was always fun to use in PvP, and now it's just going to get even better in Revenant. And now for the 10th and final exotic build thing of the video. It's not really character specific, it's Icebreaker plus a Stasis subclass. So we've learned that Icebreaker will regenerate ammo whenever you get kills and do damage with other weapons. That's playing more into the core fantasy from Destiny 1. But something always missing from the gun was a gameplay tie-in with its name, Icebreaker. I predict that breaking a stasis crystal with Icebreaker will cause a massive explosion in some way. Maybe it freezes, or maybe it just does a lot of damage, kind of like a Warmind cell. I also predict that breaking stasis crystals will refund ammo to the gun. This would make Icebreaker a monster to run with stasis builds. I mainly included this last combo in the list just to put my prediction out there, so that if it comes true, I can have proof that I thought of it beforehand, haha. Anyway, guys, let me know if you're interested in any of these exotic combos. Let me know what combos you've thought of down in the comments for episode Revenant. Thank you so much for watching, be kind to each other always, and I'll see you soon.